Nescafe is the world's best-selling instant coffee brand, consumed in over 180 countries and produced at a scale that makes it one of the most complex beverage manufacturing operations on Earth. What makes instant coffee production technically remarkable is the process of converting brewed liquid coffee into a stable dry powder or granule that dissolves instantly in water while preserving the aroma and flavor compounds that make coffee worth drinking. The engineering required to do that at industrial scale is far more sophisticated than most people realize. This is the complete process from raw green bean to sealed jar. It starts with green coffee beans, and the sourcing decisions made at this stage affect every downstream step. Nescafé sources green coffee beans from growing regions across multiple continents: Brazil, Colombia, Vietnam, Ethiopia, Indonesia, and others, selecting varieties and origins based on the flavor profile targets for each product line in the Nescafé portfolio. Green coffee beans are the raw, unroasted seeds of the coffee plant, and they look nothing like the coffee most consumers recognize. They are pale, green, dense, and carry almost none of the flavor or aroma compounds associated with brewed coffee. Those compounds develop during roasting. The beans arrive at Nestlé's processing facilities in large jute or grain pro bags, and incoming quality control covers moisture content, bean size distribution, defect count, the number of damaged, discolored, or malformed beans per sample, and mycotoxin screening, particularly for ochratoxin A, a mold-derived compound that can develop in improperly stored coffee and that has established regulatory limits in most major markets. Approved batches are moved into controlled storage while awaiting processing. Before roasting, the green beans pass through a cleaning sort system that removes stones, metal fragments, and other foreign material that may have entered the supply chain during harvesting, drying, and transport. Green coffee moves through destiners, machines that use specific gravity and vibration to separate dense stones from the lighter beans, and over magnetic separators that capture any metallic particles. A visual sorting pass using optical color sorters identifies and ejects beans with visible defects or discoloration before they enter the roasting system. The clean, sorted green beans proceed to roasting, the transformation step that creates coffee from a raw agricultural commodity. The roasting system at an instant coffee facility operates at a scale significantly larger than specialty or retail coffee roasting operations, but the fundamental chemistry is the same. The beans are fed into large industrial drum roasters or fluid bed roasters, either rotating drum systems that tumble the beans through heated air, or bed systems that suspend them in a column of hot air while heat is applied, and subjected to a carefully programmed temperature and time profile. As the beans heat, they first lose their residual moisture, then undergo a series of chemical transformations. The Maillard reaction between amino acids and sugars generates hundreds of new aromatic and flavor compounds. Sucrose caramelizes. The bean structure becomes increasingly porous as carbon dioxide and water vapor expand inside the cellular matrix and cause the bean to crack. The first crack and second crack that coffee roasters use as reference points for roast development. The green bean's weight drops by 14 to 22% during roasting as moisture and volatile compounds are driven off, and the bean's volume increases significantly as the cellular structure expands. The pale green, dense raw bean emerges from the roaster as the dark brown, aromatic, brittle coffee bean that consumers recognize. The roast profile, temperature progression, total roast time, and the endpoint is calibrated to produce the specific flavor characteristics required for each Nescafé product line. Lighter roasts preserve more of the origin-specific acidity and brightness of the bean. Darker roasts develop more roasted, bitter, and caramelized notes. Instant coffee blends often use a combination of roast levels from different origins to build a balanced, consistent flavor profile across millions of batches. The exit temperature from the roaster is monitored continuously, and the cooling step, a critical control immediately after roasting, uses cold air, or in some systems, a small controlled water quench to stop the roasting process precisely at the target development level. Carryover roasting from residual heat in the bean after oven exit can significantly darken the roast beyond the target if cooling is not fast enough. From the roaster, the cooled beans move to the grinding system, and the grind at this stage is not the fine espresso or filter grind of retail coffee. For instant coffee production, the roasted beans are ground to a coarse to medium particle size optimized for the extraction process that follows. Fine enough to expose adequate surface area for efficient extraction, but not so fine that the resulting coffee slurry becomes too viscous or difficult to process through the extraction equipment. The grinding is performed in large industrial grinders, high-capacity roll mills or hammer, mills that reduce the roasted bean to the target particle size distribution in a continuous flow operation. The ground coffee is collected and conveyed directly into the extraction system without significant holding time, because freshly ground coffee begins losing volatile aromatic compounds immediately upon grinding, and minimizing the time between grinding and extraction helps preserve the flavor compounds that will ultimately carry through to the finished instant coffee powder. The extraction system is the industrial scale equivalent of brewing coffee, but engineered for continuous, high-efficiency operation at very large volumes with recovery rates that a home brewer would never approach. Industrial coffee extraction uses a series of large pressurized extraction columns, tall, cylindrical vessels that hold a bed of ground coffee, connected in a countercurrent configuration. In countercurrent extraction, fresh hot water enters at the end of the column chain containing the most exhausted coffee grounds, while the strongest extract exits from the end containing the freshest ground coffee. This arrangement maximizes the concentration of soluble coffee compounds in the outgoing extract by ensuring that the final enrichment step always occurs against fresh grounds. While the early dilute extraction stages pre-extract the partially depleted grounds before they are discarded, the extraction temperature is high, typically between 180 degrees Fahrenheit and above, and the system operates under pressure to allow extraction above the normal boiling point of water, which increases extraction efficiency and solubility of coffee compounds. The residence time of the water with the coffee grounds, the temperature, and the flow rate through the columns are all controlled parameters that together determine the concentration and composition of the extract. The liquid coffee extract exiting the extraction system is a dark, aromatic, high solids content coffee solution, concentrated far beyond a normal brewed coffee, and containing all the water-soluble flavor, color, and aroma compounds that were in the roasted ground bean. It also contains a significant amount of water that needs to be removed to produce the finished dry instant coffee product. The path from liquid extract to dry powder or granule is where the two primary production technologies, drying and freeze drying, diverge, and Nescafé uses both, depending on the product line. Spray drying is the technology used for standard Nescafé instant coffee powder, and it is one of the most energy-intensive but fastest methods of converting a liquid food product to a stable dry powder at industrial scale. Before the extract enters the spray dryer, it is typically concentrated further in an evaporation system, a series of evaporator stages that use reduced pressure and heat to drive off a portion of the water content before spray drying, reducing the energy load on the spray dryer and improving the efficiency of the overall process. The concentrated extract is pumped to the top of the spray drying tower, a large vertical cylindrical structure that can stand several stories tall and forced through high-pressure atomizing nozzles or spinning atomizer discs that disperse the liquid into a fine mist of tiny droplets inside the drying chamber. Simultaneously, very hot, dry air at temperatures between 300 and 400 degrees Fahrenheit at the inlet is introduced into the chamber. The hot air contacts the fine droplets, and the water in each droplet evaporates almost instantaneously, leaving behind a tiny, hollow, spherical particle of dried coffee solids. The evaporation is so fast, a fraction of a second per droplet, that the temperature of the particle itself remains well below the inlet air temperature throughout the drying event, which limits the thermal degradation of heat-sensitive aroma compounds. The dried powder particles fall to the base of the spray drying tower and are collected, while the spent drying air, now carrying the evaporated moisture, is exhausted through the top of the tower after passing through cyclone separators that recover the fine powder particles that would otherwise leave with the exhaust air. The collected powder from the base of the tower and the fines recovered from the exhaust stream are combined and conveyed forward. The resulting spray-dried coffee powder is fine, pale brown, highly soluble, and shelf-stable, but it has lost some of the more volatile aroma compounds during the high-temperature drying process. Nescafé addresses this through an aroma recovery and reincorporation system. Aroma recovery is one of the more technically sophisticated elements of the Nescafé process. The volatile aroma compounds in coffee are the same compounds responsible for the distinctive smell of freshly brewed coffee. They are chemically fragile and evaporate easily, which is precisely why they are so perceptible to the nose. During the extraction and concentration steps, a significant portion of these volatiles are lost with the water vapor being driven off. Modern instant coffee plants capture these volatile compounds at the point of evaporation, using condensation systems that cool the vapor streams from the evaporators and recover the aromatic fraction as a concentrated liquid. This recovered aroma concentrate is added back to the coffee extract just before spray drying, or in some systems it is incorporated into the finished powder or granule in a post-drying step, either by absorbing it onto the powder surface or by encapsulating it in a protective coating that releases the aroma when the package is opened and the product is dissolved. This reincorporation is why opening a jar of Nescafé delivers a perceptible coffee aroma, the volatile fraction that would otherwise have been lost in production, has been captured and returned to the product. For premium Nescafé product lines, freeze drying is used instead of spray drying, and the difference in the finished product is perceptible to most consumers. Freeze drying, technically called lyophilization, preserves more of the coffee's aroma and flavor complexity because it removes water without applying heat to the product at any stage, eliminating the thermal degradation that spray drying cannot entirely avoid even with rapid evaporation. Freeze drying, the concentrated coffee extract is first frozen into a solid mass. In Nescafé's production system, the extract is chilled and frozen on large refrigerated belts or in freeze tunnels into a continuous frozen slab or into specific shapes. The frozen coffee is then transferred to the freeze drying chambers, large, evacuated vessels where the pressure is reduced to a very low level and a small amount of heat is applied to the frozen mass. Under the low pressure conditions of the vacuum chamber, the ice in the frozen coffee sublimates directly from solid to vapor. It converts from frozen water to water vapor without passing through a liquid phase, a process called sublimation. The water vapor is captured by refrigerated condensers inside the chamber, and the coffee solids remain behind as a dry, porous, structured solid that retains the color, flavor, and aroma profile of the original extract far more faithfully than spray drying can achieve. The freeze-dried coffee mass emerges from the drying chambers as a dark, irregular slab or cake that is then milled into the granular pieces characteristic of premium instant coffee products. The dark, irregular shaped granules that consumers associate with a higher quality instant coffee compared to the fine, homogeneous powder of spray-dried products. The granule size is controlled by the milling parameters, and the dark color of the granules compared to spray-dried powder reflects the better preservation of coffee's natural chromogenic compounds through the low-temperature process. Both spray-dried powder and freeze-dried granules proceed through an aroma dosing and agglomeration step where applicable before packaging. Agglomeration, a process where fine particles are brought together in a humid environment and allowed to form larger clusters before being dried again, improves the instant coffee's dispersibility and dissolution rate in water and produces the slightly lumpy, irregular texture associated with many instant coffee products compared to very fine powders. The agglomerated product is more porous and dissolves faster because the clustered structure allows water to penetrate between particles rather than compacting on the surface of a fine powder. The finished instant coffee, powder, granule, or agglomerated, moves from the processing area into the packaging line. Temperature and humidity control in the transition between production and packaging is critical because instant coffee is highly hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture from the air very readily, and even brief exposure to ambient humidity can cause surface stickiness, clumping, and the beginning of quality degradation. The packaging area operates at controlled low relative humidity, and the time between processing and sealed packaging is minimized. The packaging line fills the iconic Nescafé glass jars, as well as flexible pouch formats, stick packs, and other formats depending on the regional market. For glass jar filling, the most recognizable Nescafé retail format, the empty jars arrive from the jar supply system, travel through a cleaning station that removes dust and foreign material from the interior, and are conveyed to the filling station. The filling machine deposits a precise metered weight of instant coffee into each passing jar from a volumetric or weigh-fill depositor. The fill weight is checked by an inline check weigher positioned immediately after the filler, and jars outside the tolerance range are automatically rejected. After filling, the jars move to the nitrogen flushing station, where the head space above the coffee in each jar is purged with nitrogen gas before the lid is applied, and then to the capping machine that applies and seals the metal foil inner seal and the plastic overcap. The nitrogen flush serves the same purpose as in other fat-containing or oxidation-sensitive food products. By displacing oxygen from the headspace before sealing, the production team dramatically reduces the rate of oxidation reactions that would otherwise degrade the flavor and aroma compounds in the coffee over the course of its shelf life. Instant coffee sealed under nitrogen in a glass jar maintains its quality significantly longer than the same product sealed with air in the headspace. Sealed jars pass through a final check weigher, metal detector, and a visual inspection system that verifies cap application and seal integrity before they are labeled. The label application machine applies the Nescafé brand label, the product variant identification, the best before date, and the batch traceability code. Label jars are conveyed to the case packing station where they are grouped into the shipping case count. The case is assembled, sealed, coated, and palletized. Robotic palletizers stack cases onto pallets. Completed pallets are stretch wrapped and labeled for distribution routing, and the finished product moves into the warehouse. From the warehouse, Nescafe products enter Nestle's global distribution network, temperature-controlled ambient distribution, carrying the product from manufacturing facilities to regional distribution centers and ultimately to retail locations across more than 180 countries. From a raw green bean arriving at the facility to a sealed labeled jar leaving the warehouse, the Nescafe instant coffee process moves through cleaning, sorting, roasting, cooling, grinding, extraction, concentration, aroma recovery, spray drying or freeze drying, agglomeration, filling, nitrogen flushing, sealing, and palletizing. Each step is connected to the next, and each one exists because the step before it created a requirement that only the next step can fulfill. That is the complete production journey of the world's best-selling instant coffee. If this level of process detail is what you come here for, a like helps more than you might expect. Subscribe for more factory and food production documentaries, and leave a comment telling us which beverage, ingredient, or production process you want to see covered in full next time.